Welcome to Heal People, Healing People. My name is Trish, a woman who learned the hard way that healing isn't a straight line. It's a whisper, it's a break, it's a rise, it's a journey back to yourself after trauma, hurt, or pain that stole your voice. This podcast was born out of my own healing. The night I cried out, the prayers I whispered, and the moment God reminded me that my story was not meant to stay silent. Every wound that I survived became a testimony, and every testimony became a bridge for someone else. Here, we honor the truth that healed people never stands alone. We reach back, we lift up, we pour in love into every place that was once bled. This is where healing meets purpose. This story turns into strength, and this where community becomes medicine. Welcome home. Welcome to Heal People, Healing People. This is episode 7. Our beautiful guest today is Angela Johnson,
Hello.
and our title is Incorporating God into Education. So let's dive in. What experience early in your life shaped your heart for teaching?
Well, growing up in a suburban area, I still went to public school, and as kids, I'm the youngest of six. We did a lot of educational things at home, and all my siblings would come home, and we would play school. So I always loved learning. And then when I got into the environment, although it was public school, I had wonderful teachers that really shaped my experience as a young person, specifically as a violinist. Um, I had teachers, not just academic ability, but the personality. They just gravitated to our family, and they were just, what they did to support us as a big family. That grew on my heart, and I said, you know what? I think that's what I want like to do when I get older. So,
Oh, that's cool. Education's really big in my family too. Island people, you have to be something. So I really like that you, as a young age, I'm sorry, as a young age that you wanted to teach, and that's really cool. I was a teacher, but couldn't do it for that long.
listen.
So, was there a moment when you realized teaching was more than just a job for you?
Absolutely. I came into teaching probably around 2019 through till now, as an adjunct professor, then going back actually into elementary school. And although the age groups are different, um, it's still advocacy, it's
Mm.
still support um, for young people. And when you go home and sit in the car, you're getting ready to go inside, and you're still thinking about the young people.
Mm.
Not that you are taking work home, but your heart is tender towards the students you advocate for. And so when you see that or feel that or have that feeling and think about them on the weekends, you're like, oh, you think of your classroom, you think about that one student,
Yeah.
you see the certain things in the store, and you're like, oh, I think that that would be something they could benefit from, or whatever that would be. You realize that there's a tender spot for your kids. You end up, you know, not having. I am soon to be mom, but um, not having children for years, I always felt like I had children
Mm.
because of my kids at school. No matter what age, if they were 5 or 6 or 18, 20, 21, it's the same feeling. So,
Yeah, I understand that. And just to let you know, to encourage you, I had a teacher like that, and that's the only one I can remember.
and
And that helped me to wanted to further my education as well. So
absolutely.
still keep that, passion, because that's how you know you really wanted to be a teacher and you
Absolutely.
love what you're doing. It's just not for a paycheck. Because some
Absolutely.
teachers are just woo for a paycheck.
Absolutely. And you can tell. They've lost their, I would say, charisma.
Mm.
Maybe they started that way with the zeal, but after being in it, and it's hard. It's hard work. I will be honest with you, but you kind of reframe and reshape your why
Mm. Yeah.
every year so that you can continue on in the um, in that career. Otherwise, you start kind of drying out, and that's where you get those that are kind of um, more suited for retirement at
Mm.
that point. So,
Perfect words. That's I love that one. Can you share a specific example of how faith positively impacted a student?
um, like I mentioned before, I was a string student, so I actually teach educational courses on the college level, but I also work um, full time in the elementary school school system. And most of the time, with both settings, excuse me, I was working at a Christian college. So you get to talk about it and share your faith, share your testimony of how you persevered through your career
Mm.
and through your academics and help hopefully it encourage students. So I worked on the music side of it. There is a state test that they would have to take, and encouraging them that they could do it.
Mm.
Let me pray with you.
Yes.
um no matter how many times they may have not passed the exam, encourage them to keep going. There was a young lady who um, had attempted it 7 times, and it's a lot of money when it's around $150 a piece. um, she was kind of feeling that she was going to give up, but I explained to her her perseverance and prayed with her, and I said, have faith. And I always told her, when you pass your test, let me know.
Mm-hmm.
So I told her, when she did pass, come to tell me. No matter if I'm somewhere else across the world, email me. Here's my personal information. One day I just ran across her on campus, and the first thing she came to tell me, because she didn't forget, I passed it like you said. I passed it like you said. And I said, no, you passed it because you could do it all along.
Amen.
And once you lined yourself up, that's when it occurred for you. And then on the more current time working in public school, you can't really just go out and pray.
Mm-mm.
And you don't, you're not walking around with your Bible and sharing that word that you received that day, but more or less like encouraging students, say, hey, no, don't give up. You can do it. Just encouraging them to stay positive, think on the more positive side. Um, you know, share their accomplishments more than the failures. And there's a way to go around it where you can incorporate it without saying faith, right? Or I say the golden rule,
Mm.
um, be kind to others and they'll be kind to you, versus um, do unto others as they, the biblical perspective. So there's ways to go around
It is. I work at fast food, and
it.
you know, you can just tell when people are without have to, throw the Bible all the time. So I had a couple of customers say, you're different.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, what do you mean? She's like, you're very, about, and I'll answer and be like, yes, I do. So they don't have to say it because, I know it's hard for us to just talk about our faith in public because we don't want to, offend people. But when they come and approach me, then that gives me a door to be like, yeah, I'm a woman of faith. Yeah, I have a
Absolutely.
relationship. So
Absolutely.
it's like, as long as you walk in that faith and you shining, it's not going to be hard for them to tell.
Yeah. And
And especially like how you said the words, like how you, and I think I like to do that. I'm going to learn. Instead of using biblically, use it the other way as well.
you can make it very plain and say, no, you can do it. You're empowered. You be encouraged. There's ways to kind of change the verbiage. I think even further, um, you can say, whether you believe or not, is one of those statements that I will use. You say, oh, I'm praying for you, or um, I'm believing God for you. Whether they, if they believe or not, be encouraged. Um, there's ways to say what you want to say that reflects your belief, but not necessarily saying, hey, you got to believe what I believe, but I'm believing for you in this way. So there's ways that you can certainly do it.
Love that. Love that. So, how do you think faith influences students beyond academics?
Um, Both the home environment and educational environment, we try to make the same so that they can feel empowered to be propelled in their academics. That doesn't always match up. Um, so sometimes you, as the teacher, have to be the one that's the positive one that can encourage them beyond their home environment and, you know, empower the student so that their belief grows and, whether they're getting that reinforcement from home or other family, they know that their teacher believes in them. And that's like your teacher you shared just a moment ago, you know, the one that encouraged me and did these things for me or with me is the one I remember. And so making your impression on them last because it's a seed.
Yeah.
So if we can plant the seed now and help it grow, they won't forget that. Right?
Yeah. And as you saying that, my daughter as well, because my mom was a teacher, and before she became a nurse, she was jack of all trades and stuff. But when she was teaching in her older season years, she showed me that the parents that showed more, caring and coming to PTAs, that's the teachers that paid attention to them. So, and I started to see that with my other children before I, went away. And then now that I have my young one, I'm more, going to PTAs. My husband as well, we're going to PTAs. And like, I get super, oh, your daughter's so sweet. She's so respectful. She's so helpful. The principal, she even asked the principal to sit down with her and have lunch with her class. And they were like, you can just tell which teacher, like her
That's
third
right.
grade teacher now, I can't stop her from texting me. But those are the ones, even Judea, like every school year, every grade, I don't want to leave my teacher.
Oh, yeah.
And those are the teachers I love because now that you left that impact. So now she wants to be a teacher. She wants to be a doctor. Like, she's like, I want to be that because they told me I can.
Yep.
And especially with the situation when Elder Tim prayed over, and this is before I even knew him. I came to church and they told me a diagnosis. That's how you say it. That she wouldn't be able to do what she's doing now. That she was going to be severely autistic. She wouldn't be able to speak. She wouldn't be able to function. And now she's on honor roll every year.
Absolutely.
And he prophesied on it. Like, and then also having people not only at school but in church
That's right.
that's helping her and talking to her and try to help her. So I just encourage, like, education is hard to work in, but when y'all do good, some parents don't say it, but we do appreciate it.
And it will come in time. Whenever they say that is, or how they appreciate that, it comes in time. And as teachers, what we do is we appreciate that. So we want to send you a message like, hey, we appreciate your child. Just little tokens that we can just to let you know, hey, you're doing a great job. And I think it goes a long way.
Yeah, I love it. So, can you give a real life example of how you incorporate faith into a lesson?
Sure. So I think I mentioned like the golden rule. You have classroom rules and different things, um, especially with, in a violin teaching setting. We have materials and things that we use together, and we have to share. Um, we have to um, share a lot of different things, maybe even instruments. So we can't come in with a very selfish mindset or things of that nature, but we're helping to each other. Also, we learn together. So if someone is maybe a little bit on a slower side of understanding than someone else, we take our time and we're patient with them. We encourage each other. And so I use those general statements with my kids, but most importantly, um, I say, hey, treat others how you want to be treated. If you want to be nice, you want someone to be nice to you, you be nice to them. Mm-hmm. And I explain like this tomato seed you put in the ground. I said, do you get one plant and one tomato? No. They're like, we get a lot of plants and lots of tomatoes, and then you pick them and they get more. And I said, and they keep growing, gets more there. And I said, you want to receive good things like that. But it also um, goes for something that might be a negative thing, doing not so good things, you will reap those things. So you reap what you sow, right? I'm teaching that principle, but I'm talking about it in a sense where I'm helping them learn how to cohabitate together, like how to work together, how to grow with the cohort of students. So they start in kindergarten, they have some of the same students they started in kindergarten with throughout their time. They got to work together. Yeah. You will always see them possibly unless they move. So there's ways to do it. Especially my younger kids, they love the structure and the support. Believe it or not, they do.
They do. As my daughter does say that her teacher does teach them, and she's a woman of faith, and I'm so happy. But she does teach them just like you, and then she's like, when they bully one of the kids, my daughter is standing up. She's like, "No, you're not gonna do that."
Yep. And it goes a long way.
And it goes a long way. They remember it because I remember when I was doing early education, there was like at this age until middle school, that's when they learn the most.
That's right.
So you have to install some good stuff in them because they're sponges as soon as 2 or 3, I think. Yes. So if you don't,
Even earlier, possibly.
If you don't do it now, then it is crazy how it goes back to the Bible, where the Bible says, "Teach them as they're young, and they will never go away from it." I think I'm saying it.
Train up a child the way they
Yep.
should go. Yes,
Yep.
and not depart from it.
Thank
Yes,
you.
absolutely.
So, how do you adjust your approach depending on the age of or need of your student?
Um, that's a good question because, I've been, um, if I can make mention, I've been playing violin for 31 years. That makes, if that even can be fathomed. I'm not 31, so I didn't come out with a violin, but shortly after I started playing, and there's a lot of knowledge and a lot of things that I've learned over the years, but I've got to be able to take my understanding of all those years and be able to break it down to someone who's 5, who may not be able to read words, or they have an understanding or a limited vocabulary to teach them how to do the same thing. Then I have someone that's 8, maybe a little bit more advanced, been in school, same type of technique, but how I can maybe move them a little bit faster than a 5-year-old. So being able to comprehend age, not necessarily limitation, but their level or limit of understanding, and be able to break that down by age. But then you also have talent and other things like that. So you've got to be able to factor those things in as well. So it takes a careful eye. Um, Sometimes you have students with special needs and various things that is not to work against them. It's just a more creative way that they learn. So be able to adapt and adjust and not get frustrated when what you have planned may not necessarily go as planned. Just be able to adapt and adjust, being out agile and malleable with, okay, what works, what doesn't. Sometimes veteran teachers can help you with that, but really asking the Holy Spirit, like, okay, Lord, it's me and you. Okay. How do we do this? And so he literally will lead and guide you into all truth. And I believe that with everything, so I've been able to be successful with being able to break it down by age range and even also learning ability.
Yeah. And I like that because I wish my daughter was in your band a little bit.
I do too.
She stopped that because she wasn't getting what she needed to learn, so it discouraged her.
Yeah.
But she is so into the point where now I want to do piano, I want to do track, I want to do this, do that. So I encourage my kids, like my son. He, my husband just heard the song he made for my birthday last week, and you just can just even when they're in their 20s to cultivate them
Mhm.
because he's still learning how to figure out life, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So when he made that song, he was like, oh yeah, he got potential now.
That's right.
Like, yeah, like my son, like he would sit there, and I tried with my oldest, and I'm praying to learn how to get her into her talents because all all of them, they are so talented, and just I want to learn how to encourage them better
Absolutely.
than that now. So how do you navigate conversations when students come from different belief and system?
Um, I mean, that's a great question. I mean, if I can say where I'm from New York, so it's very much more diverse than where we currently live. And so when you kind of are in that learning environment as a child, you see the diversity and differentiation that they use with learning. And so you kind of, it's kind of something you pick up on, especially if you want to go into education. You can see how they differentiate various things. So,
Hmm.
an example, we're in the Christmas season,
Hmm.
and some beliefs and some religions don't say it as Christmas.
Hmm.
So instead of saying Christmas, we say holiday,
Yeah.
right? Or our winter. So instead of our Christmas concert, we say our winter performance, and that's not to slight those that are believers in Christianity,
Mm.
but it's to help with inclusivity.
Yeah.
But also, we include things, other those that celebrate other holidays or other beliefs in this season. So Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, we have some of the other Islamic cultures or Asian cultures like the Asian New Year, different things like that. We try to incorporate those things, but explain to students like, hey, it's your belief is your belief,
Hmm.
something that you practice at home. But culture includes everybody.
Yeah.
And so, not to emphasize one culture to another, but to encourage diversity.
I love that. I love that. And I'm trying to teach my daughter that as well.
Yeah.
So, what has helped you create a classroom culture rooted in respect and understanding?
Um, I think for me, um, I guess kind of acknowledging, you can say differences. I think you can say differences
Hmm.
like t-shirt color,
Mm.
shoe color, hair color, eye color, and start with that first, and so that they can see, or you can start with boy or girl and start kind of helping them build the understanding like we're all doing this together,
Yeah.
but as we're different, we're still on the same page and we can work together. But then you can also kind of go further and say who's of a certain descent, um, who, where are your
Yeah.
where's your family from, um, and kind of, or town, or
Yeah.
you can kind of bring it down to a child's understanding and explain the importance of being able to work together, even though we're different. Um, I tell them where I'm from, and they're like, "No, you can't be," And
Yeah.
I said, "No, I did, and I went to public school too," And um, so pointing out similarities, but also the differences, but how that we're all human,
Yeah.
and like we have the same thing in mind, which is to be to advance in music, you know. So we talk about the similarities and differences.
I
I love
love
that.
it. Yeah, that's really cool because my daughter just did that with her teacher, and she was like, "Oh, Miss so and so, I don't want to say her name, but Miss so and so, this is where we're from. We're from Miami."
Hmm.
And she was like, "Oh, so can you show me how it looks in Miami?" And they were like, she showed a little map of where we came from and stuff. And now, they found out that me and my husband speak another language,
Hmm.
Creole. So it's a Spanish teacher, and she's trying to cultivate her to learn the words.
Good.
And now my daughter's on Duolingo, and she's like, "Oh, mommy, how you say this?" And like her grandparents just heard her say something
Mm.
that she was trying to learn for a whole week, and they was like, "Oh, look how she's trying to do." So like you helping cultivate them even in their own culture, it's really nice.
Yeah, and helps encourage pride of like, yeah, that's your belief, that's your value, and you should be proud of that, you know. And you can always, you know, encourage a child to, embrace their differences, and I think that's important.
Yeah, it's really important because with us changing so much. Even
Hmm.
I'm not saying only blacks. They're just trying to change history, and
Absolutely.
we need to know a lot about ourselves.
Absolutely.
A lot.
You will lose it and
Hmm.
forget and don't know your origin if you don't go back and retrace it
That's true.
and
That's
go
true.
over it. So that's important, yeah.
So, have you noticed any long-term academic or behavioral changes in students?
Um, I would say the more advanced the technological age gets, the more challenging it becomes to help students comprehend, um, like to really reach comprehension, unless they are reinforced at home with their parents to not only embrace technology, but also um, a very basic and kind of uh, formatted step by step way of learning and encourage like reading and writing and things like, there's AI out now, which, as a college professor, um, the challenges chat GPT, whatever it's called.
Mhm.
We don't like to use the word, but and I mean no harm to say any specific software, but it will write information for you, but you've got to go back and read it
Yeah.
and make it formalize and make sense. Anyway, um that's the challenge where I see students bypassing the process of learning, and which is the whole point
Yeah.
of investing money in getting this degree. Because at the end, if you still can't do what you came to do and you paid, you got through,
Hmm.
when you're asked to do it in a professional setting for a job occupation and you can't, that
Mm.
limits you.
Yeah.
And so we see a lot of students and people, young people, limited.
Mm.
And I think that to see that digression backwards
Yeah.
to be limited and stuck on devices is really sad.
Mm.
And I think that's just really,
And
really.
like I learned with my sister is a teacher as well. So she's like, "Oh, today it was going down in our reading." She was like, "Well, do Bumblebee." I was like, "Okay, all right," because call her about any education because she went to school, she got her master's and stuff. So I'm like, Madeline, oh my God, like today is. And, I used to be an avid reader too, but now that I'm going to school, doing the
Oh,
podcast and all this other
life.
stuff,
Yes.
life be life. And so I'm trying to get to the point that, like, I need help.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
and I'm not afraid to be like, can you help me?
Mhm.
You're in the education field. So it does. And she's like, sis, I'm just telling you right now, quickly, listen, we have to work with technology. Try to give them something like my daughter was always on Leapfrog, ABC Mouse, and she
Mhm.
was like, "You did good," because now she knows education is fun, and
Mhm.
now she can play games on the thing. And now Janae will be on it and be like, "Mommy, look."
Oh, I've seen her
And she
do her math, and she's amazing. So I will personally testify with that. I was
yeah.
like, how do you know that? She's very bright, and I love that. I love to see that. Yeah,
So
very
yeah,
good.
I appreciate her doing that, and I
Mhm.
appreciate you guys too, because I know she was like, "Miss Angela told me this," and
I love it.
I'm like,
That's
"Oh
my
God!"
friend.
And I didn't even know you even. You, I mean, I know you speak to her, but
Mhm.
like when she's telling me, "Oh, Miss Angela showed me this, Miss
Mhm.
Jan showed me that," and I'm like, "Oh, cool."
Mhm. That's my friend. I tell you,
Yeah, she
she's
loves you. She
unmatchable.
loves you. So, how do character and faith-based values support learning outcomes?
Okay, that's a great question. How do character and faith base? Mm. I would say first with character, you are as the teacher, when you call them educational stakeholders. You want to look at
Mm-hmm.
that when they teach you about all the foundational basics as being a teacher. You're an educational stakeholder, meaning you are a direct representation, an example to that student for life, like whether it's the positive or negative, and the character that they see within you in school and out of school, and they can find you. Remember, they're in technology now.
Mm-hmm.
So they can look you up, and what you want to do and have is that integral part of your character that represents what you are at school, but also outside of school. And I think for some that can be challenging if you feel like you have to be a certain way at work and one different. Um, and that really kind of comes to maturity and you as a person, and maybe even examples that are set before you. Your character speaks before
Mm-hmm.
you actually can make a statement.
Mm-hmm.
So that's very important in the realm of learning outcomes because you want to be that example to them. The other part is the faith based values. Again, integrity, what you represent and who you represent
Mm-hmm.
is important because it speaks long before you can say anything. So if you are saying and proclaiming that you are a certain way, you need to also demonstrate that both at work or
And
whatever setting,
yep.
any environmental setting. And so that's so important, especially as educators, because many times, even as babies, babies learn from sight. They see you and they mimic you. And then later on comes understanding. So that's the foundational method of learning for children. And so they're going to do what you show them,
Yeah.
not what you tell them, but what you show them.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is what you have to have them coexist coincide together,
Yeah.
excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
And so that you're not just teaching um, learning like academics, it's social skills, it's life skills, and all that together. So there's so much more in education than teaching someone about like a material
Yeah.
or academics. It is literally um, shaping their lives.
Yeah.
So that's very important.
I love that. That is good. Is there a student or a moment that still stays with you today?
That's, I mean, the longer you're in education, the more students it is, So picking out some, I have a young girl who lives in maybe not the best part of town.
Mm-hmm.
But I've had several students in that manner. But this young lady, her and her sister, I work with her mother. They've both gone on to middle school. But I still ask about them because they're so near and dear to my heart. And this young lady, I just gravitated to them. They're so talented, but I just saw much more that they needed a mentor and a figure that could support them. So sometimes I just swing by and see how they're doing and um, encourage them. I pick them up, take them different places. We went on a field trip. I took care of her costs and things because I knew that that was important for her to see.
Mm-hmm.
Because She's more than in her environment. Her
Mm,
mom's doing all she can to be an example and raise her children, but she needs to see another example in addition of like, hey, I don't have to repeat what I live in, but I can advance further. And I
yeah.
explained to her being the youngest of six and big family and things, but the opportunities that were set before me that my teachers helped me to understand and to access. So I told her I wanted to make sure that I gave her that opportunity, her and her sister. And I still check with them and see how I can help support the family. But the mother, we've grown to know each other well, and she's so appreciative of that.
Mhm.
And she says I can see those seeds in my kids. Like continuing to form and shape them.
Yeah.
So it's actually two young ladies. They're sisters though, but I just there's no particular moment. It's just in general they just touch my heart,
That's
and that's how I had some educators, some teachers who a teacher would come to our house. We got a Christmas tree from one. We She picked us up one time and took me and my sister to the movies, and we'd go different places. This was the 90s, so maybe this might have been a little different, but it was just I want to be that educator. So,
um. So, what do that experience teach you personally?
teaching goes beyond the tiredness and um sometimes you're just like I don't want to do this today. It's a life, it's a lifestyle. It's beyond how we feel at the moment. um and so if you take it on as a calling,
Mm-hmm.
you can stay in it longer, and no matter where you are, you can go to another work environment. You can work in an office building, you can work in a hospital. You're still going to have that element of education about you, and so it's a calling.
Yeah, I love it. I love when people walk in their calling as well. So, what's the first step would you recommend for someone wanting to start this journey?
um like I said, no matter where you are, if you're called to be an educator, you're going to do it anywhere. You don't have to necessarily teach in a school system, as although it would be very helpful and beneficial. But some, it's maybe elementary school, maybe it's secondary, which is sixth grade through 12th. Um, Whatever that is, you might take you a while. It might be collegiate. It might be teaching adults who need to go back and get their GED, right? Adult education. It could be a technical school. Whatever that is, it do it, be it. It may be that you're a stay-at-home mom and you teach your children, whether it's homeschooling or just the foundations to help them um, get started. Whatever that is, you'll know that you're calling. You ask the Lord, it's just going to be something you automatically do. So just help ask Him to help reveal that to you. But when you're an educator,
Yep.
no matter where you are, you're going to do it. So yeah.
So, how can education stay encouraged when work feels difficult?
Um, like I started out with in the beginning, know your why. If you can remember why you do it, sometimes you got to feel through the list to make a why list to make sure you understand why you're doing it. And again, you might have to change the environment. Maybe it's not elementary school, maybe it's secondary or vice versa, or collegiate, working with adults, those with special needs, whatever that is. You've got to try different things, but don't give up because it's challenging. Just remember what your why is as to why you do it.
Okay. So, I appreciate your
Yes,
time.
ma'am.
I love
Thank you for
that you,
having me.
I appreciate you giving us a yes to the invitation. And I love that you are allowing us to, to learn a little bit about you. And, if you have any questions, guys, please DM us on our YouTube. We'll try to find the answers for you. But also, I want to thank you And congratulations on the baby.
Thank you.
I can't wait to hold her.
Listen,
Kiss her and stuff.
she-
And I just appreciate the time we had, and I hope that someone learned from this. And I appreciate your testimony as well.
Thank
I
you so
love
much.
you, and we love you too.
Thank
and
you.
we'll hope
you for
to see you on the next episode.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you for spending time and your moments with us on Heal People, Healing People. Just as healing is not a straight line, neither is your journey. I hope that you learned something, got something from it, and I pray that you'll join us on our next episode. Have a great day.